Hi, my name is Karina.
My name is Jeffrey, and today we'll be talking about musicianship in ensemble playing. And musicianship plays a huge part in ensemble playing, and to start off, I'd like to talk about what it's like competitively. As a member of a symphony orchestra, you probably spend a good deal of time auditioning, whether it be auditioning for the part or auditioning for the seat that you're in. For example, both of us are a part of a youth orchestra, and in my youth orchestra, there is both an audition at the beginning of an academic year, as well as multiple seating auditions throughout the year to help determine where you should be seated within the section. And so, the most important thing to think about in terms of musicianship when you're considering these auditions is that you have to separate the competitive side of an audition with the cooperative side of playing in an ensemble. Um, an ensemble of musicians is built around cooperation. Without cooperation, your ensemble will fall apart. Now, cooperation isn't necessarily seen the same through different ensembles. For example, symphonic orchestras will have upwards of 100 people, and there's need for a conductor who helps direct the entire orchestra. And there's multiple parts. And with a smaller ensemble, such as a quartet, a sextet, an octet, there's less than 10 people. There can be down to even like 3 people. And so these kinds of smaller numbered groups typically don't require a director who can guide them through the music. And so, especially in these kinds of groups, making sure you know how to communicate with your peers in the group and work together is extremely impactful on how you perform altogether.
On top of the idea of ensemble before individual, a non-competitive aspect of ensemble playing that's also essential to musicianship is the idea of community and family. On top of your just general dedication, responsibility, and commitment to the ensemble as a whole, it's important to recognize that the ensemble is a community and a family, and in a larger, for example, symphony, that could look like becoming close friends and working with your section members. But in a smaller ensemble, it could mean getting to know the people very well inside your ensemble, both in music and perhaps out. This is essential because ensembles require a lot of trust and cooperation, and to be okay with critiquing other people or giving other people of your ensemble support and having them give you the same kind of support in return, which is especially important for smaller groups like ensembles that are like 2 to 8 people. So make sure that you become comfortable with the members and part of your ensemble, and to make sure that this is something that you enjoy, because this is really what makes ensemble playing enjoyable. And if this is an aspect that you feel like you don't really like you just like individualized like personal solos, and it's not really worth anything for you, the community aspects or the family or the idea that you should put ensemble always before individual, then maybe reconsider the aspects of ensemble playing and what that means for you.
And from personal experience, having played in numerous different ensembles of varying sizes, I also find myself striving to develop as many relationships as I can with the people around me. Understanding how people will emotionally react or how people play as a musician is extremely important to the way you all play together. I have relationships with people that are almost entirely based on music. I knew and I still know people who I solely know because of playing in an orchestra, and I barely know them on a personal level. But I know how to play music with them simply because we've spent so much time talking about music and working together. Now, I'd like to extend this to talk about what it's like to play in an ensemble. What's especially important to keep in mind when it comes to musicianship in an ensemble is that each person is extremely important to the success of everyone. Your part will always matter, regardless of whether it's a harmony or a melody. Even if you have the quieter section, or if you have the loudest section within the entire ensemble, you have to keep in mind that your part is crucial to everyone succeeding. Now, this means that for every rehearsal, Um, Rehearsals are meant to help you rehearse with everyone else. Rehearsals are a chance for tens of and even hundreds of people to gather together and put a product together. And so what this means is that your personal product, your own part, and your own playing must be almost perfected before you can truly put it together with someone else. Without this personal perfection, you won't have the same success, nor will you work as well with other people. If you have to simultaneously develop your own skills, then you won't succeed in the long run.
Adding on to the rehearsal aspects of playing in an ensemble, it could be extremely difficult sometimes when you're rehearsing because your section or the part of the music that they're currently rehearsing doesn't pertain to you, so you don't get to play and you might have to sit there for 20-30 minutes without playing, or you play a section that you have a lot of rests in. Remember that under musicianship, this doesn't mean that your part isn't important or that you're doing better than everyone else just because they're not rehearsing your part, but rather make sure to pay attention through all aspects of rehearsal, because the director might call on you the next second to play your part, and you want to be ready when that happens to minimize interruptions and disruptions, and to maximize efficiency, and to make sure to pay attention during every aspect of rehearsal, which is essential to musicianship.
And it's important that when you're in a rehearsal that you're prepared to interact. Before a rehearsal, you have to be prepared to know everyone else's part and learn how to work together with other people. What's especially important, especially in a smaller ensemble, is knowing how you fit in with another part of the ensemble. Especially in a quartet, which I have a lot of experience with, knowing how, as a violinist, for example, knowing how you fit in with the cellist or knowing how you fit in with the violist or the other violinist is extremely crucial to making everything succeed and work as a whole.
On top of what Jeffrey just said, I too have a lot of experience with from duets to 10-people groups. And a big part of that, especially when you're working without a director, a good part of musicianship, despite what part you have, is taking leadership, specifically taking accountability, which is essential to every single member of the group. If you're someone that's leading the group or someone who is seen as responsible and capable enough of leading the practices, it's important to recognize that there is a line between being strict and being respectful of all your group members. This is an essential part to musicianship, as how someone plays doesn't define who they are. Even if they're a worse player than someone else or than you, it doesn't mean that they're not as deserving of the same kind of respect and the same kind of nice language and encouraging and supporting language as other people in the group. And when you're leading a group, make sure that you're taking accountability yourself as well. And it's important to recognize that, especially in ensemble playing, every single person is really essential to the group, and that this is something that you want to keep in mind throughout the whole process of rehearsing and working with them.
And so when you're, especially in a smaller ensemble, making sure you're accountable for your own part is extremely important. If you fall behind on your part in a larger ensemble, sometimes, but not always, you can rely on the people around you to help support you. And of course, if they also practice, then you will be able to work with them to develop a better understanding of the music. In a smaller ensemble, your part is brought out even more than it would be in a larger symphonic orchestra. And so making sure that you're constantly on top of your own part and making sure you're constantly keeping on track with what the group is doing is ultimately the best way to succeed in this kind of an ensemble. And so thank you everyone for listening to our talk about musicianship and ensemble playing. Thank you.